What's going on, y'all? We are back for another live Ponderosa Sky Squad. We are back in the building, baby. Back in the building for a live. Yes. I said, you know what? I'm going to have to tell y'all last night's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 11, makeups, slip ups, and cover ups, to me was probably one of the best episodes of the season. And for that, I'm going to give it a 10. Let me know what you would rate it in the chatterization down below. And I want to talk about why really quickly I'm giving it a 10. Now, it would be very easy to look at this episode and say, why is it that the majority of this season we are reflecting on things that happened 2 to 3 years ago? And it would almost seem to indicate that the show was better at that point because we're still talking about incident, like things that happened 2 to 3 years ago, between Marlo and what she experienced with her family tragedy to now Drew and Latoya. Again, it would be very easy to look back and say they are relying too much on things that have happened in the past. However, the difference with this Drew issue and the Latoya situation coming back up in tandem with Drew's divorce, in tandem with this whole situation, the allegations of something going on between Drew and Ty Young, that to me is the differentiation point between this and the Marlo tragedy that she experienced that was brought up earlier this season. So now, as we reflect back on the Latoya and Drew of it all, we can put that in comparison to the Drew and the allegations of her and Ty of it all. And so we can see how those things tie, no pun intended, together to create whatever is about to happen with Drew and Ralph. Y'all see? And we now see also how vehemently Drew denies ever locking lips with another lady. Okay? Ever, at all, at any point in time, in life, in history. So the question then becomes, if Kandi says she saw Drew kiss Latoya, Marlo says she's 80% sure she saw Drew kiss Latoya. We go back. I ain't gonna talk too much about the speak on it right now, but there have been other instances of people like Kenya, Latoya talking about Drew kissing her. Is Drew lying? That is the thing that I want you guys to answer in the chat right now. Let me know, do you think that Drew is lying or not? And then when we think about it in the context of what Drew and Ralph's relationship looks like, does Drew now need to, if she did lie, is it more important for her to just continue the lie to preserve her image, or should she just let it all out? Okay, let it all out, because at the end of the day, I mean, in this day and age, you kissed a girl, y'all was intoxicated a little bit, and then you went about your way. Okay, unless that's a specific deal breaker for Ralph. But to me, the argument could be made that him disappearing to Tampa could have been a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? And I personally, it's just hard for me to believe that everybody else is lying about what they saw back in the Bolo instance. It's just hard for me to believe that everybody else is lying. Because Drew, the other piece of the plot, LaChristie says she's too Christian-fied, okay? Because mama's a pastor. That might not look too good for the church. Mm-hmm. 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 Kimberly Williams, I'm not gonna put your comment on the screen. I want to, but I feel you. So what? So what? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, um, it's so to me, this plot of it all is fascinating. And it puts Kandi and Drew at odds, which is new for the show, right? I love it. I absolutely love. I'm thrilled because it creates a new dynamic that these two are at odds. Okay, I did. Okay, I loved it. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. So Drew runs out of the scene crying. Kandi says, "And scene." Okay, because like Marlo, Kandi, honestly doesn't seem to know when Drew is putting it on or not. We can just go back and look at instances where we all have felt like, I know me personally, he, me, hello, have felt like Drew has maybe put on a little bit, throwing the dog bones at Fatum, bringing the boom box, for Latoya with the whole pastor prophet lock situation of it all. Y'all remember those instances where you just kind of felt like Drew is doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So I could see why Marlo and Kandi could feel like, like, okay, girl, like, because Kandi has said she's seen her in bigger blowups than that, and Drew hasn't lost it. So we can either assess that she is creating scene, which I want to talk about, speak on it so bad, but I'm not. I'm going to save that for a separate video because I just feel like we dive too deep into that, and I don't want to veer us off of what we saw in the episode. So expect a second video about the speak on it because there's certain things that I want to call out that are very important. Okay, about why Kandi might have thought that was a scene. So, Drew runs out crying to, interestingly enough, she's crying to Sanya about all of this. And given their history, it's interesting to me that Sanya is the person that is really like consoling Drew in this moment. But for Drew, this $1,000 lawsuit is about so much more that she cannot tell us. Girl, like what? Like what? Because for me, give this woman her $1,000 and let her be on her way. Okay, let her go. Like, I mean, what is it? What is it that you're not telling us? Yes, this woman has ran to the blogs to tell people, I think, about the situation because she felt like she was owed money. I don't think she was making that up. I personally don't. I really don't. And it is what it is. You let this, if you let her in your home, y'all had a verbal agreement. I don't know what it was. Throw her this $1,000 and keep it pushing, okay? And then you won't have to be like she who don't pay because now you are being alleged to not pay, okay? So anyway, there's some tears and Sheree comes out and Sheree apologizes. Um, it's an interesting little conundrum that's going on between Sheree and Drew in this moment because Sheree then says, "Well, I didn't know you was going through all of this. Like, what you mean you didn't know she was going through it? You brought the lawsuit up. This is why we here, Ike." So anyway, um, Kenya wants to know how many of it is it of us at this table, at the table in there? It's 8 of us. What's 8 divided by 1,000? If you paid attention to Sonya in the scene, the camera pans in on Sonya's face and she's like, Kenya. And I felt that in that moment, like, not now, girl, not now. But at the end of the day, I feel where Kenya was coming from. Like, girl, like, let's just pay this lady and get it and keep it pushing. This is not worth all of the angst that you are giving it, Drew. It's really, really not. Okay. Apparently, according to Drew, they have paid this woman money, and it's about other things that she can't talk about. Girl, what is it? Okay, unless you're gonna tell it to us. I mean, it sounded like it's your little secret. Okay, you're my little secret. Okay, like let us know what is it, because it seemed to me the girl just wanted her $1,000. Is it not? Is that, I mean, when I saw the things on, I remember seeing the things online, it didn't seem like she had a whole list of terms and agreements that she needed Drew to come to the table with other than to give her money. Okay. Unless I'm missing something that happened in private. Okay. I don't know. Did she what did she want? Massages from Ralph? I don't know. Like, I mean, allegedly, I don't know. That was never anywhere. I made that up. Okay. But what I'm saying is you would think that she wanted massages from Ralph, okay, and Drew was unwilling to give it to her. But Kenya does make an assessment. This has to be about more than just this money. It's got to be about Ralph. And of course, it's about Ralph because the producer asked, is there anything that you're not telling the girls in this moment? And then she goes into this whole spiel about, one, she worries about what Ralph is doing and what happens when he travels. And then two, the woman that was oiling him up and down and wrapping him in a warm embrace at the video shoot has now invited him to, go and shake a tail feather in the Vegas, and he's going to audition, and now she don't know what's going on betwixt the two of them. Okay. So I don't know, what is it? Is it the lawsuit? Is it A, B, C, D, or all of the above? I don't know. Bernice says Drew is getting her narrative about the divorce out and she's the victim and Ralph is the cheater, allegedly. Thank you for that super chat, Miss Bernice Jackson. If you're nasty. But who is nasty in this group? Okay. Who's doing the do behind the scenes? Is it Drew and Ty? Anyway, after some hugs, Drew and Sheree return along with Kandi because she went to the bathroom. And Sonya says, well, I just want us all to move on with respect and how we speak to each other. And Kenya's like, girl, you could keep your 2 cents and put it in a jar somewhere or whatever like that. And then she says, y'all know I like Sonya, so I'm just joking. But I'm like, do you like Sonya? Okay, because I mean, we do know that you said you felt like you couldn't trust her. So I felt like this episode to me was very filled with interesting little dynamics. You know what I'm saying? Like it was some little moments to me that I felt like, now I just felt like this episode, y'all know what it is. I felt like when I used to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, I would watch it and I felt like I would laugh so hard throughout the episodes. I wouldn't know what was about to happen, who was about to shade who, and it was always just so unexpected. And that led me to something for last night that I felt like I think Bravo needs to implement, okay? For as much as I do like a spoiler, as much as I do like the previews, I felt like back in the day, we didn't get so many previews of the next episode. Personally, I felt like this particular episode, I didn't see a lot of previews out. I saw a preview of the Sheree and Drew of it all, but I felt like much of the episode had been kept pretty much under wraps. I like that. I don't want to know everything going into an episode no more. I feel like what they should do is give us that one little preview at the end of the show, and that be it for the whole week. Then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, give us a clip per day from the after show. That will keep, the fans, occupied with Real Housewives of Atlanta tea and news, because we'll get the ladies' opinions throughout the week. And then on Sunday, when it's time to watch the episode, we're all just collecting the new information that's in the episode because we've not been privy to any extra previews that may have come out during the week. Personally, I think that's the way they should do it, because I felt like I didn't really know where this episode was gonna go like I have for previous episodes. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's just a little aside that I wanted to mention. I thought about it last night. I was like, this reminded me of the old days when I used to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, because I didn't know. I kind of had a feeling, but I didn't know so much of what was going to happen. Anyway, so at that point, Kenya and Sheree kind of confront Kandi about not being as available for the group as they would like her to be. And Kandi feels like, well, girl, I gotta work, okay? And I don't know what y'all doing, but I got to still run out here and make these coins. And for Kandi, they question it because they're like, how do you not see that you've like already made it? Because Kandi feels like she's still in a building phase. And I understand what Candy's saying. There's a little bit of PTSD that's got to have come from being in that group and then reaching the heights that they reached back in the day, and then potentially losing it all when the group, broke up, and then having to rebuild it and you kind of, what happens to you is, I don't know if any of you have ever been broke. And when I say broke, I mean down to the last for a lengthy period of time. But what happens is when you go back up, okay, it, for some people, for some of us, myself included, you get into this mental phase of, I have got to work so that I never get to that place ever again. So when she said that, for me, I understood it completely. I get it. They ain't got to get it, but I have got to get out here and I have got to get my coin, okay? Because I will never go back to a day where I feel like I got to go and sleep in my car, okay? Period. But they do advise her, which I thought was great, a great moment, because they did advise her, well, you do need to balance, right? You do have to, it can't be all work. You've got to take some time for yourself. And I like that. I like that a lot. I liked that conversation because I felt like that was a real, authentic moment for Kandi and then for the ladies to give her as feedback. It was not laced, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was laced in shade as much. Maybe a little bit from Sheree, but not as much from Kenya. But I did feel like what they said to her was justified, and I like that. It's day 2, and they somewhere burning Sanya's hair off. Monyetta and Drew catch up about the Sheree situation. Everybody arrives except for Kenya because Sheree has a packed day plan, but Kenya's on her own time, okay? And they start loading up the van, right? Kenya finally arrives downstairs and she's wearing the slippers that they give you in the hotel. Now, me personally, I got to tell y'all something. I have never put on a pair of hotel slippers in my life, and I do like to travel. I think I'm a little bit of a travel snob, to be honest with you. So I I bring my own slides like every trip I go on. I do. I bring my slides, okay? Because I'm also the type of person, I don't like for my bare foot to touch the floor. I'm a country boy, but I don't like for my bare foot to touch the floor. So the likelihood of me ever using a hotel slipper, it just seems highly unlikely. Doubly unlikely for me to leave the hotel room in the hotel slippers as well, okay? Because hotel slippers to me, they seem very flimsy and weak. It'd be like walking on a piece of tissue. So I can't understand for the life of me why she would decide that she would want to walk downstairs and to the bus in the hotel slippers when you know that it's raining. I didn't really understand that. You know what I'm saying? That didn't make no sense to me. It ain't something I would ever do, so I didn't get it. So when she slipped and fell, I was like, well, I could see that coming a mile away because everybody could already see that it was raining. She checked the weather herself. She saw that it was raining. Why would you even think, like, in the back of my mind, it's like, why wouldn't you just wear some sneakers to the van? Now, I'm sure hindsight for her is 2020, especially in this instance. But so when she falls, okay, it looks bad. Okay, it looks like it hurts, and she is hurt. Everybody comes out, and she got to go into the ambulance. And I did remark to myself that this is the second girls' trip of the season, and it's also the second time that Kenya is being wheeled away in a stretcher. Just as a viewer, I'm having this observation. And I must make note of that. I'm having this observation right now as a viewer, because when I talk about what Courtney says later, I'm going to talk about that in a different context. So pay attention to how I just spoke about it, right? Just a casual notice. Like, I was like, oh, this is the second time she's been in. 2 times an ambulance has been involved in the show this season, and Kenya has been in them. So Kandi goes off with her or whatever, um, to the hospital. So this to me, I'm gonna let y'all know right now. You can call me sensitive, you can call me whatever you want to call me, but this was probably the most disgusting thing that I have ever heard somebody, not the most, but it was definitely the most disgusting thing that I heard yesterday. Okay. Um, Drew sits with Courtney and says how unfortunate that Kenya has fallen and has to go to the hospital. I didn't see this nowhere online afterwards, so I could be the only person that felt like this. But y'all let me know how y'all felt. Courtney says something to the effect, well, the universe has a way of forcing things sometimes, and and says it's a thing called karma. And I was like, ma'am, are you serious right now? Like, are we really, really serious? This woman has just had a nasty fall. Granted, she shouldn't have been wearing those slippers. But you're going to equate that fall to it being about her karma because you felt like she was being mean to you because she was setting a boundary with you. Like, to me, like, completely and utterly distasteful. I don't like. I can't vibe with stuff like that. I feel, speaking of vibe, it's very low vibrational play energy for me, for Courtney, with that comment. I just felt like we don't we don't equate somebody something bodily harm, okay, to someone's perceived actions because we don't like what they said to us. I didn't feel like Kenya went off on her enough to warrant Courtney to say that. She said, I don't know you. You're putting your hands on me. And I felt like it was going in a direction where I listen, I've seen you use your hands before, okay? And I saw where that led you and Kandi. So keep your hands off me. We don't know each other like that. Period. Now, mean girl energy or not, nobody deserves to have a nasty fall and potentially hurt their back. Like, that to me was just, I don't know. It was just ugly, distasteful. I ain't really like it. Then she doubles down on it and says, sometimes the energy needs to be cleared and God has a way of doing that. And this is where she says, this is the second trip where Kenya gets rolled away on a stretcher. And so I'm like, Courtney, or that's the little, I don't know. To me, that was again, it was low vibrational plate, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, I ain't like it at all. JMW says Courtney's evil as hell, and I'm glad Drew side-eyed her. My hope is that Drew told Kenya, because if not, she's gonna get ate up. Okay. JMW, I did feel like it was evil. Honestly, last night when it was said, I couldn't believe it because I didn't perceive Courtney to be that type of girl. You know what I'm saying? That type of person. Messy Angel says, poor Kenya, I'm glad her. You know what? I I don't know whether that lady has a BBL or not. All commentary is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Drew is looking at her with a side eye. Okay. Like, cousin. I'm wondering to myself, is cousin Drew gonna tell on cousin Courtney? Cause that was kind of ugly. Mind you, Kandi is speaking of Kandi not being there. It's Kandi's last day in Portugal, and she got to go and spend 7.5 hours with Kenya at the hospital. Now that's a good friend right there. Okay. And I'm like, girl, you just got here. Pooting and tooting and all. So the girls head out in the rain with the rest of the girls, and Courtney asks about the Isle of Palms trip to South Carolina for Cynthia's birthday. And she says, oh, I'm from around that area or whatever. And I was wondering how the bolo of it all, that girls trip was coming back up. And so this seems to be a tiny little like breadcrumb, in my opinion, as to how this will maybe come back up later. So anyway, they go to the market, there's some talk about somebody else being there. going to the hospital to help Kandi and Kenya move things along, but nobody seems interested in going. So Marlo begins gushing over Scottley, her new man. Oh my God. Everybody's just, go girl. Yes. Oh, yes, for you, Marlo's got a man at home. Mm, mm. Finally, it has happened to me right in front of my face. Okay, Marlo finally got a man, and she gonna show that man off any chance she get. Okay, at least the one she can show on TV. Um. Oh God. So anyway, Sheree tells Marlo that Kenya said that Marlo and Scotland's relationship was not real and called it a Tinder date. And Mayetta makes an interesting statement about, well, being worried about bringing somebody around the group, but she gets some people do it differently. I don't really understand that, but I was like, okay. So then Sheree brings up Marlo knowing Roy, and then Mayetta says, well, I just didn't like that Marlo was trying to take Kenya's shine. Now I can see where Manetta was going with that, because it was kind of like as soon as Kenya said, "Oh, this is my guy," Marlo was like, "Oh yeah, I dated him. Let me find those messages." But to be fair, I didn't feel like she made it that big of a deal, right? So Marlo says, "Well, like Kenya went straight to the DMs about Martell," and I'm like, "That's not really the way it happened," because curiously, okay, Kenya waited months and months before she went to the DMs to tell Sheree about Martell. And even then, there was some scuttlebutt about whether or not those DMs were real or not, or erased or not, or whatever the case may be. Then there's the added element of whether or not Martell was playing Superman that, with somebody else, okay, some other people in the A. So there's more to that story, right? So Sheree thinks that Manyetta's head is all up in Kenya and Kandi butt. All right. Speaking of Martell and Superman that, let me pull up. If you were here yesterday, you will know exactly why I have this. Big issue. Martell calls and she puts him on speakerphone. How timely. How timely that he would call while they're filming at the restaurant and Kenya and Kandi aren't there. Um, he says, we never go this. Let me put in Martell. We never go this long without us having relations at night. So think about me, all right? Now he didn't say the word relations. Okay, he said the word sex, and I all I kept thinking was, now listen, I know. Now, was it at this moment in their situationship where they decided to kick it up a notch and say, you know what, we probably need to get at people a little more? And so I felt like then they had some type of agreement. Well, you know what, I need to call you and I need to really up the ante. You know what I'm saying? So let me throw some D's on it. And so let me add that to the conversation. And that's gonna make the people think, yep, this whole thing got to be real. So I just have a hard time believing anything Martell and Sheree related. I do. I'm sorry. And it's I have to tell y'all this. It's probably me. It's not you. It's me. And that's just that. We're gonna let it be that. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I cringed. I laughed. I wondered who set this up. You know what I'm saying? Like, did production set it up and say, hey, you need to up the ante? Or was it Sheree's idea? Like, hey, we need to up the ante, say this. Or was it Martell who said, let me throw some D's on that? I don't know. I don't know. Take that as you may. Do with that what you will. Anyway, Sheree tells them in the spirit of transparency, Drew, You know, when you got up and went and ran out of the scene crying yesterday, literally ran out of the scene crying yesterday, Kandi said, and scene. Okay. Now Drew is upset, but she's like, well, maybe like you, Sheree, you didn't really understand and or hear me. And Sonya, Sheree, and Marlo basically think that Drew is afraid of Kandi. You know, after all, Kandi didn't even chase after Drew. And I was thinking to myself, now, first of all, Sheree, you didn't initially chase after Drew. Okay. It was Sonya who went after Drew. It was because Marlo told you to go after her. Kenya told you you weren't being a good hostess, that you finally got up and you ran to go speak to her. I could say more, but I'm gonna save it for the speak on it recap, okay? But at the end of the day, it's like, girl, like, don't try to make it seem like, oh, well, Kandi didn't run and chase you. Girl, you didn't either. All right. You went out there because everybody shamed you into doing it. Let's be real about it. Sheree, okay? All right. So then Sheree says, well, there's some fakeness here because Drew, you still have an issue with Marlo. And you know, Drew brings up Marlo, you know, essentially cursing her out and jumping in her face. And Marlo apologizes, but you know, Drew needs some consistency before she will really, you know, forgive Marlo. 7.5 hours and a box of KFC later, and Kandi and Kenya are on their way back from the hospital. And Kenya has got some medicinals, so she feels much better. But I don't know if that's going to mean that she's going to the girls' night that Sheree has planned because, you know, Kandi got to go and they want to have a little Ponderosa to end the night. Okay. So, the girls go to a painting, a sip and paint or something. I don't know. And Marlo suggests that, you know, now that Kenya and Kandi are not there, the whole group is getting along or whatever like that, right? And I was like, yeah, because y'all are you got you with your girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? Y'all one clique, okay, and they another. Essentially, that's what it is, right? Um, so they get back to the hotel, and before the girls' night, you know, we got to do another check-in with Martell and Sheree. And you know, Marlo's got to do another check-in with her boo, Mr. Scottley, before everybody arrives to the girls' night and the food arrives. Now, they ask Kandi about the hospital. She lets them know they gave Kenya a prescription. But since Kandi is leaving, Drew needs to address, you know, something that Kandi said. You know, Kandi, when I ran out yesterday crying in hysterics, you said, and Candy's like, I said and seen and did, did it. I said it, seen and seen. See, let me tell you something. I love that. Now, I always tell people if you own these reality TV shows, you got to say and stand in what you say, right? Stand 10 toes down in it, whether you wrong or right. Now, if you wrong and you want to apologize for it later, as Kandi ultimately does, then I'm with you right there, right? Okay, right, wrong, and indifferent. I just want you to stand 10 toes down in it, right? Bernice says, I can't with the Sanderson witches, Sheree, Marlo, Courtney, along with the lady and the putting that battery in Drew. I mean, they did. I mean, well, Sheree did, I think, at least. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, Sheree has to chime in and say, oh, yeah, Kandi, you said it like you thought that she was acting. Again, Marlo also thinks and verbalized that she doesn't know. Drew scares her because she doesn't know when Drew is acting or not. But that wasn't brought up. It was only brought up what Kandi said. But again, we know why, because it's two teams and they two teams got to be versus each other. That's how we create the drama that makes the show go round. So Sheree is doing a job and stirring the cauldron. So, you know, Kandi says that I've seen you in worse arguments. So, my first instinct was to make it into a joke. Drew is still upset, and she's like, well, I don't need to do all of that. I mean, I have all the acting jobs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm even acting in your movie. Okay. So Kandi feels like everybody takes things a little bit too personally. Um, but Drew says there's a time for fun shade, and last night was serious for her. Point made. Okay. So Kandi does apologize and tells her she wasn't trying to drag her. So it was nice that they were able to walk through that issue. And then Sheree asks about Sonya about her sister at Mommy Nation, and Sonya get to breaking down about the girl leaving. Bye, sis. Okay. Anyway, Kandi then asks about dropping with Drew. Apparently things are going well. I ain't seen now listen. Just because I ain't seen it don't mean it ain't popping, okay? But I ain't seen hide nor hair of drop it with Drew, okay? Um, only thing I've seen right now is dropping Ralph, okay? But if you know anything about drop it with Drew, then let me know in the chat. Are you a part of drop it with Drew? How is it going for you? Okay, let me know. But Sheree noticed ain't nobody support my business. I didn't see y'all name. First of all, let me say this. Sheree, it is very telling about the amount of sales that you have gotten if you have looked through your sales um list and not seen the names of any of the ladies who have purchased from your store. While I am appreciative of every person who has purchased my book or any of my other products, the sales are coming in. I'm just fulfilling the orders. Okay. So never ever would I say to a group of my friends personally, I haven't seen your names pop up in my sales back end. So what's tea, ladies? I just feel like that's crass to do to your friends. It just, I mean, maybe I'm a little bougie too, so I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I'm a country bougie person. Okay, so never ever have I looked and said to my group of friends while I was sitting at brunch, "Hi, friends. What I did notice is I did not see your names listed here on the list for people who have purchased my book. Okay. Where are you? Because you know what? My products are for the audience that it needs to be for. Everyone's not a reader. Okay. So you just kind of have to let people rock with what they want to do, okay? And you can't expect you never this let me tell y'all a little secret. Let me say this. You never ever go into business with the expectation that your friends or your family are going to be the ones that support your business, because it is very likely that your friends and your family are not going to support that business until they begin to see it popping everywhere else. Okay. Because you are making your product for an audience that is wanting to buy. And that does not always include your family and friends. So all you need to do, Sheree, is make your product for your target audience, that is people who want to work out and look good in their attire, and that may not include Sanya and the gang. Furthermore, if you do want these people to purchase your product, my suggestion to you would be that you set up the proper sales channel so that the site actually works when it's time for them to purchase. Okay. And if their site doesn't work, do not expect them to refresh every day, because people are busy. Okay. People have things to do. No one has time to be sitting around pressing refresh on the She by Sheree website when they can really go down to the Shein, okay, the ASOS, okay, and they can purchase their items for almost free 99 and receive them tomorrow. Okay. Just a little message for y'all. Anybody who wants to go into business, take that and run with it. Take that and do with it what you may, because it's important. Okay. Um, A. Horton says, then Sheree said she was gonna girl. If you thought you was waiting on Sheesh by Sheree Fashions, can you imagine how long it's gonna take you to get that workout tape? Okay. Your better bet would be to go get the stallion booty workout, or the donkey booty workout from Sheree or Phaedra. Okay, you find yourself an old Richard Simmons workout and do it from on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, because if you waiting on that, baby, let me tell you something. You might be waiting forever and a day. And that's my point, Miss Jazz. If the orders are ordering, you wouldn't even be able to notice. That was my point. You succinctly stated what I was trying to say. Okay. If the orders are ordering, you're not going to notice who is and who ain't ordering. Guess why? Because you're going to be so busy fulfilling orders, you ain't got time to think about who didn't order. Woo! Don't get me to preaching today. Okay. I was determined to just go through this review and fly through it. But sometimes I feel like a word jumps up on my spirit, and then the spirit don't let go, and then I got to go. I got to run with it. You know what I'm saying? JMW says maybe if she bring the price down and add the clothes from the fashion show, she would have had sale. Preach it, JMW, because what I was looking for was what I saw on the show in the fashion show, not baby. Sheree is selling merch, okay? She's not selling an apparel line. That is merch, okay? Call it what you want. That's what I'm calling it, and it's fine. I would support Sheree merch because I want to support the ladies, right? But I don't know that I can support paying $300, $400 for it. You know what I'm saying? When the people are making the comparable to the Sheins. And Sheree got the nerve to tell Sonya, well, I went to your charity event and I donated $5,000. You only donated that $5,000 after Kenya called you out, girl. Let's be real about it. And then you can't call her out over donating to the charity. The money's not going to Sonya, is it? I thought it was going to the charity. So you're going to try to throw that in her face because you gave a donation that's actually a tax write-off for you? Sonya's like, girl, we all went to the site. There was nothing there. And even Marlo throws the ultimate shade bomb where she says, girl, everybody, they was all saying that it was overpriced in Alibaba. But I noticed Sheree ain't say nothing about that. Sonya was hot about that thing. And I was like, Sonya, this is your moment. This is your moment. Because they was all in a group chat, ready, willing, and able, and having their credit cards out. This site was supposed to open up and go live. And again, there was nothing there. Why? How do I know? Because I too was bamboozled and led astray. I was hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray. My credit card in hand, and there was nothing there. Okay? There was nothing there. So anyway, production wraps at 11:47. This is where things get real interesting. 1 hour later, this obviously is like cell phone footage. Marlo is questioning if somebody tried to kiss Drew from back in the Bolo episodes, right? Drew says whomever it was humping her, always humping her. So then Drew explains in her confessional that they were reminiscing on the Bolo night and someone said that Drew made out with Latoya. Kandi said Drew, and Kandi's in her confessional saying, well, Drew said, no, I didn't make out with her. And Kandi said, yes, you did. Because apparently they thought that the cameras were down and they thought that nobody else was filming. So this conversation is happening in what is thought to be a private context, right? And so Drew is like, well, where is that coming from? So the producer asks, well, says to Drew in the confessional, well, Latoya said it at the reunion. So we do get the flashback. But then Drew says, Latoya told me that Kandi told her to say it. Latoya, ma'am, like let's I mean what's tea, baby? Did you tell Drew that Kandi told you to say that? Because when I saw that flashback on, I ain't gonna speak on it right now. Anyway, Drew then says in the scene that Latoya, well, in this found footage in the what's that movie? What is that movie where the people found the footage in the forest and everybody thought it was real? Anyway, in the cell phone footage, baby. In the cell phone footage, Drew says that Latoya apologized to her and Ralph for all the lies that she told when they made up. And Kandi says, girl, you're not going to make me unsee what Blair Witch Project in the Blair Witch Project footage. Okay. Shaky and grainy. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yes, you can. And your money might be better well spent there too. Okay. Edward, I mean, no shade to I mean, support my girl, but if you can get the Nike sweatsuit cheaper, I say go on do it, you know, because the bills is due. But back to the Blair Witch footage. So Kandi's like, girl, are you trying to say I'm a liar? And you know, she go, don't call Kandi no lie. Don't call her no lie. Don't talk about Kandi man. Don't talk about Kandi mama, and don't call her a liar. Okay. You better back up. You better back up. And so they started going back and forth. And I'm like, ooh, this is getting juicy. So the producer asked Marlo in her confessional, did you see them kiss? And Marlo, I cracked up. I fell out at this point. Marlo's like, well, I'm 80% sure I did see them kiss. And the producer's like, well, what's the other 20%? Marlo's like, I don't know. Drew got me confused. Can I tell y'all something? Marlo, and I said it before, Marlo not in the conflict is so much better than Marlo in the conflict. I thoroughly enjoy Marlo when Marlo is kicking it from the sidelines, narrating what we're seeing. Okay. And I got it. When she said it, I got it because I'm like, Drew is seemingly Drew is 10 toes down in this, in what feels like a lie. Okay. It feels like a lie. It feels like fibbery. It feels like a fairy tale. It feels like a flim flam. It feels like falsehoods. It feels like fables. It feels like wives' tales. It feels like a parable. It does not feel real to me. Okay. So because now I'm confused too. Okay. So the producer says to Drew, have you ever kissed a woman? Drew says, I have never kissed a woman. I've never, my lips have never touched another woman's soft lips. I have never in my life, my lips have never come close to another woman's lips. I don't even put my face near another woman's face. I actually don't even talk to women in to their face. I kind of talk to them to the side so that I not can be confused for wanting a kiss. You know what I'm saying? I talk to them like this. They're talking to me here, and I'm talking to them like that because I don't want it to be confused, y'all. I just don't want it to be confused. And first of all, let me say, Renee, buy scalp. Okay, because at the end of the day, you come to YouTube so because people are talking. Okay, did you want to see some footage or something? I mean, like, what did you expect when you showed up today? Okay, I just want to know. What did you think that we were gonna sit here and hum Amazing Grace? I mean, what did you want singing? I could do that. Did you want me to dance? I mean, I could, because I can dance too. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to dance, I can give you a show, baby. I can give you a show, okay? I can give you the moves. You can't see my pelvis, but it's thrusting, okay? What would you like, baby? Because I can give it to you, all right? I'll give you what you want. Tell me what you want, okay? Tell me what you need, okay? Tell me what you want, baby. Tell me what you want. I'll give it to you, all right? Hit me up offline if you want something else. I'll try something else in the next video, but I mean, for right now, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get me talking. Can you? Oh, wait. Somebody got it. Somebody got it. Can you woo? You know what I'm saying? What do you like? What would you need? What you need, baby? Because I got it for you. I got it. Now stick around, Renee, because I mean, we're gonna do some things. We're gonna have some fun now. Okay. First of all, y'all, when people comment like that, it bothers me not. You have got to have fun with these kind of comments because people have their opinions and they have every right to them. So, but baby, when you do, just know that we're gonna have all the fun with it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have all the fun with it, So hopefully, Renee, you just getting your good laugh on right now, and you come on back, okay? Come on back, baby. Anyway, 3 months later, all right, everybody's talking about the divorce. Ralph and Drew, Ralph asked Drew in a scene, well, did you kiss her? So Courtney is then asked, well, what did Ralph say? And according to cousin Courtney, he said it's no secret. What's no secret? So then we see a scene of Marlo saying, well, the streets are saying that she's dating Ty, who then appears on the screen. Ty is actually going to be in an episode. I'm like, oh my good, like this is, I mean, to me, I was like, this, give me more, baby. Give me all of this. I mean, whatever it is that we're serving up right now in this 3 months later tease, give it all to me. Give it to me. Give it all to me, baby. Give it to me. Okay. And the last thing we see is the headline of Drew's. The headline reads, Drew's lesbian affair caused her divorce, allegedly. So the producer says, what is your relationship with Ty? Are you just friends? And at that point, Drew get to breaking down in tears. And I'm like, Drew, you and Ty together? Question mark. Tell us. We ain't gonna tell nobody. Anyway, that's the video, y'all. That is my recap of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 11. I hope you had a good time. Miss Renee, come on back, baby. Because we'll listen. Next time I'm gonna talk less. I'm gonna actually just get on the screen and you know what? I'm gonna get on the screen and we're gonna all meditate. How about that?
So, Desiree Davenport, what are you hoping to accomplish with this show?
Honestly, I've lost everything in the most horrible way possible. And listen, I want it all back. I'm willing to build it piece by piece, and I mean brick by brick.
Oh, honey, she is done. I bet you a Burke and she doesn't last all season with us. Just watch.
I'm Misha Hill, and I'd like to consider myself the matriarch of this dynamic group of ladies. I mean, someone has to keep them under control.
I'm Davita Delaney.
I mean, I think I could teach these ladies a thing or two about how to get and keep a good man.
They said she was a gold digger. She ain't do that for me. I'm just really looking forward to being surrounded by other empowering bosses.
Yes, I know exactly what she's doing. And if she keep playing in my face, I'm gonna have to let out all her dirty little secrets just like she did to me. And I'm not playing.
Let's get this straight. If I brought you into this circle, I just as easily can take you out. She ain't running nothing over here, okay? She needs to be worried about running that household and worried about why that husband of hers is never at home.
Oh, hell.
Ooh, child, this is about to be a mess.
Oh my God, I hate mess. What in the world did I get myself into?